Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Cecilia, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you've joined us for our next live presentation from Collective Mining. Before I introduce our speaker, a few points to note. Please submit your questions in the question box to the left of the slides. If you are interested in scheduling a meeting with Collective Mining, please click on the Meetings tab found on the left navigation bar. You will be able to view the company's availability and submit a meeting request. On a final note, all of today's presentations will be recorded and available for 24/7 replay. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Ari Sussman, Executive Chairman of the Board of Collective Mining, which trades on the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol CNLMF and on the TSXV under the symbol CNL. Welcome, Ari.
Thank you for having me, and I look forward to talking to everyone. Usual disclaimer for people, forward-looking statements. Obviously, we're making predictions. We don't have all the facts yet. So with that caution in mind, let's proceed. For those that don't know our background, we are a Colombian-focused company with significant experience and success in the country. Our previous venture was named Continental Gold. It was a project that we got involved with in 2010 when it was at a very early stage of exploration, and over the course of a decade, drilled off a system that totaled north of 11 million high-grade ounces, and we ultimately sold the company once it was just about finished construction to Zijin Mining for almost $2 billion in enterprise value. So, before we get into the nuts and bolts of Collective Mining, let's do the housekeeping items. So we have about 53 million shares outstanding. You'll see the cash balance of about 5 million. If you look at the footnote below, that does not include an additional $10.7 million that was raised in late October. So with the combined cash, we are well financed to carry out our plans, obviously for the balance of this month, but more importantly for 2023. This is a very tight share structure. If you look at the pie chart on the bottom left, you will see the management plus insider number is approximately 52% of the outstanding shares. Importantly, our money is where our mouth is, and in the financing that was just closed in October, management and insiders took a significant portion of that financing, so we're aligned. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so the team, this is the Continental Gold team rebuilt as Collective Mining. Instead of me being the CEO, I'm now the executive chairman. Omar Osma is the CEO and president. He is based in Colombia on the ground. David Redding is a special advisor. For those that like the mining world, his claim to fame, although many, was that he was the founding vice president of exploration of Randgold with Mark Bristow, who is now the CEO of Barrick Gold. Steve Gold, Rodolfo Higuera, Paul Begin, our CFO, Carlos Rios, our Vice President of Exploration, and Richard Tostel on the bottom right is a special advisor. Equally important as a geologist, in my opinion, this is the best, or if not the best, one of the top porphyry experts on the planet. And for those that understand porphyry geology, that's what we're exploring, and that's what we're onto. So having that kind of expertise is very good. Okay, Colombia, amazingly, not so well understood still. We still get questions on Colombia. Oh, can you mine there? Oh, is it safe? Is it these things? Well, look, this is a selection of mines in Colombia. So Colombia has a very well-established and old mining system in place. Colombia is the oldest democracy in Latin America, in South America, I apologize. You will see there's a combination of open pit and underground mines in the country. Cerro Matoso, which you see on the top left of the table, that is the largest open pit, Cerrejón, number 2 at the top, the largest open pit coal mine in the world. Cerro Matoso, which is at the top, was once upon a time the largest nickel mine in the world. I think it's still a top 10 mine. You will notice Aris Gold or Aris Mining's Marmato project in production. That is important to us because you'll see, look at the location of our projects. They are Guayabalas and San Antonio, and we are dead contiguous with Marmato. So we have already permitted a mine in this country and built one. It's an excellent place, wonderful work ethic, supportive government, and the new government is very big on decarbonization and the mining that will be required for that. Let's go on. Okay, so really quickly, we're in the department which is named Caldas. Probably for most people online, they don't know what that is, but Caldas is reputed to have some of the best coffee in the world. So if you're a coffee aficionado, you will be aware of Caldas. Importantly for us, we've taken advantage of that situation and aligned ourselves. So that photo that you see in the image is an agreement that we have signed with the Colombian Coffee Federation. Everyone knows coffee from Colombia, how important it would be for the country, and to be aligned, with this group is really beneficial to us. And really, the big benefit of it is education. We go hand in hand in the communities that are impacted by our project where coffee exists, and say we want to work with coffee, and coffee wants to work with us. This is a very important mining jurisdiction where we're located, and that's because we are sitting next to Marmato. The light blue outlines Guayabalas and San Antonio are our projects. You can see Aris Mining's Marmato mine, which is located directly contiguous to next door to us. They have more than 8 million ounces of total resources. It has been in continuous production for more than 500 years. I obviously do not know the number of ounces that have been mined there, but it would be well north of 10 million ounces, if not more, over that type of a history. And there's an old saying in mining, the best place to find a mine is next to a mine. Okay, we recognize this opportunity, put together the Guayabalas package primarily, which is what we're going to talk about today. It's never been properly explored. In fact, a lot of it has never been explored or drilled. And here we are with big discoveries under our belt. As far as the location goes, low elevation, trained labor force in the area, abundant hydropower, so it's green energy, it's all hydro generated, and a supportive government. This is a place that you want to build a mine. And to that effect, this is what you're looking at there. The thing that looks like a jelly bean, that is what we call a porphyry cluster. I'm going to come to that on the next slide in a minute. But all of those mining symbols, those are permitted mines. So there are 10 fully permitted mines within 3 kilometers or approximately 2 miles of the area of interest, which is the blue jelly bean that we have generated. In fact, you will note that one of those mines lies within the jelly bean. And we have an option to earn that in 100% basis, as well as all the rest of our ground. So, we're in an excellent location that is mining supportive and understands mining and wants it, and we're fortunate to be here. Coming in to let's look at these numbers. So each of these numbers represents a target that the company has generated by grassroots exploration. For those that don't know the statistics in mining, you have about a 1 in 1,000 chance of ever finding a mine from grassroots discovery through production. Those are terrible odds. So, and I'm bringing that point up to show you the potential of this area. So a porphyry cluster, that is the jelly bean. The way porphyries work is you have intrusions, which are with then fingers that come out of the ground like this, and each one of those can contain metal. In addition, as a later event, you get brecciation. In the last event, you get these late-stage, high-grade porphyry-related veins. The Aris Gold's Marmato project is a late-stage vein system. To date, we have drilled 5 targets. And coming back to the exciting prospectivity, of the 5 that we have drilled, we have made first-pass major discovery on 4 of them. Number 1 is our Apollo target. We're going to look at that in a minute. Number 2 is Olympus. You can see the drill results when you look on the right of the screen. These are significant intercepts. This isn't little single veins that we're hitting. We're hitting big bulk tonnage type intercepts, starting from shallow and near right at surface. So exciting times, but really the focus of the company is number 1, which is Apollo. Okay, so now we've zoomed into Apollo. Apollo is an area, this is a little out to date. It now measures about 1,000 meters from east to west by about 1.2 kilometers north to south. The parallelogram shape that you see in the middle, that is an area that at surface, when we came here, we see porphyry rocks that have been brecciated. Brecciation, think of a jigsaw puzzle. when you put a puzzle together on a table, when you look down on it, you can still see a significant amount of space between the jagged pieces where they're connected. That is what a brecciation looks like, and the space is where fluids containing metals can get trapped. So that is what we see there. And then below where we have the red circle is where we see actual porphyry target. Okay, and the orange kind of little blobs and blue blobs, the orange are copper soil anomalies at greater than 500 parts per million. That is extraordinarily high given we're in a very weathering environment, Colombian climate. And then the blue color is moly or molybdenum in soils. We will not find moly here in economic quantities. These are younger age porphyries, so they're copper, silver, gold, but moly is an excellent pathfinder. The discovery hole was only announced on June 22nd in Apollo. This is a brand new discovery with already significant dimensions to it. Okay, lots of holes for you to look at here. I'm not going to read every one of them for you, but in summary, the dimensions of Apollo, and this is what we call the main breccia discovery within the Apollo target area, currently measures 385 meters of strike length by 350 meters of width by 820 meters of maximum vertical extent, and it remains open for expansion in all directions. If you scan the table on the left, our intercepts are ranging, from between 70 meters up to 326 meters. The weighted average of those intercepts is well north of 200 meters. And most importantly is the grade. Most of those holes, when you look carefully at that table, they're well north of 2 grams per ton gold equivalent over those distances. This is a gold, silver, copper system. Gold is the most dominant in most of it, so we're reporting in gold equivalent, but you could look at it as individual assays. So we will hopefully in the future produce all 3 of those commodities. You highlight holes. You can see 207 meters at 2.68 grams per ton gold equivalent, 237.7 meters at 2.88 grams per ton gold equivalent, et cetera, et cetera. Most recently, we drilled 547 meters at 1.03 grams per ton equivalent. And yesterday, what you don't see is we put out some significant drill results, including just over 100 meters, 103 meters at 3.38 grams per ton gold equivalent, as well as 298 meters at just north of 1.5 grams gold equivalent in new drilling. We have a number of assays outstanding, and we do expect to be reporting more holes before the end of this year and then many into next year. So growing. And people always say, well, what should we be excited about? What's coming with drilling? Clearly, the next hole to get excited about is APC 22. So the red area was only outlined from the one hole. APC 17 is a major extension to the system. 22 will confirm that. In 22, we've announced visual results. We have 2 long bulk intercepts. A shorter one at the beginning, about 50 meters thick. And then that is followed by, as you can see, the trace of the hole when it drills back into the system, an interval that is north of 400 meters of continuous mineralization. I hope the grade will be good. Obviously, we're at the mercy of the assay lab, but visually we have hit, so there will be some grade there for sure. And obviously, we're excited to see what comes out of the lab in the coming short few days to weeks. Just what a cross section for those that are technical. You can see what we're looking at here. So there's different styles of breccia. The one in the center, which is angular breccia, that's the jigsaw-looking puzzle stuff. That's what we care about. If you go to our website, you can zoom in on those drill core trays, and you will see jigsaw puzzle-looking material, and you'll see where the spaces are. You'll see sulfides carrying metals flooding it. The ones you'll be able to see easily with your eye is chalcopyrite. That is the copper mineral that is dominant in this system. Chalcopyrite is a mineral that is about 34.5% copper within it. You won't see a lot of gold, obviously, in here, but you'll see sphalerite and zinc, which are zinc and sphalerite and galena, I apologize, which are zinc and lead minerals, respectively. They're very visual. The sphalerite is kind of a dark purple, and the galena is gray. We don't care about lead and zinc in this system. It's not going to be in economic quantities. However, when we have those minerals, we tend to have a lot of gold associated with it. The second target is Olympus, which I mentioned before when you looked at the map showing all of our targets. And this was our first discovery. So, look at the discovery hole, which is the top one, 302 meters at just north of a gram equivalent. This is gold and silver predominantly. And we followed that up with 217 meters at roughly the same grade. Recently, we have moved down into the area that we have the dark blue oval, where there you can see some significant underground channel sampling results. We have some artisanal mining in that area, a small amount of it, and we've been accessing those small tunnels to see what was going on with grade, lots of grade, but we're not looking for narrow veins and high grade, we're looking for bulk. So we've gone underground, we're on the final hole of a short 3-hole program. Those results will be out in January. If we hit on those holes, we will have extended the strike length of this system to more than 500 meters. You can see the scale bar in the bottom left of this image. So that is a big step out for us. And this is veins pretty much, right? But there's so many of them in veinlets that they bulk up. So looking forward to getting those results in January as well. The next target, which was our first discovery at the project, or a smaller one, but it's called Donut. We drilled a series of holes into a modest-sized target, all starting at surface, just north of a gram, 100-plus meter intercepts. Interesting, but we like the prospectivity of this area more, and it's something that we will be focusing on in 2023. We think there's potential for large copper-gold porphyry targets very close by to this discovery. And then lastly, we've gone way up in the northeast of our package, and we have two targets here. One called Victory. Victory is outcropping, never been walked on, never been touched before copper gold porphyry systems. And inadvertently, as part of our exploration at Victory, we found the target, which is called Trap. It looks sort of like the boat from Italy on a global map. We named it Trap because it's a structural corridor that has trapped mineralization into it. We did 3 reconnaissance drill holes. The first 2 were drilled from pad 2. We got modest results. The final hole was drilled from pad 1. We got an exciting result, and this is definitely going to be a priority for us going forward. That is it before we go into the Q&A session. These are our catalysts. You will see we are going to be very active next year. This year, by the end of the year, we will have completed approximately 23,000 meters of diamond drilling, and we look to replicate that at minimum, if not do better than that next year in total meters, and really advance the system. With that said, I am finished, and we can open it up for questions. Okay, I will read the first question. First question is, I see that south of the main breccia, there are some soil samples with good grades of copper and moly, but you haven't drilled there yet. What are your thoughts on that? Let me go back first so you can see the slide, what the individual is referring to. Okay, so the individual is referring to that red oval shape that is sitting or abutting those soil anomalies, which are the orange outlines and blue outlines in the south. You're correct. We have not drilled that yet. That is an exciting target for us. We think it's a porphyry system. It could be part of the feeder for the fluids that have pumped into the main breccia system directly to the north. We will be drilling that in Q1 of 2023. We've been very busy creating tracks so that we can get more access. One of the biggest challenges we have here as a company is lack of outcrop. So putting in tracks for people to use helps us too, because it allows us then to take soil samples and to expose rock. This is a very nice looking anomaly. It has scale, it has everything going for it, and we will drill it. The second question is also, do you have, this is from the same individual, also, do you have a preliminary understanding of the metallurgy? So my answer to that is stay tuned. For those that don't know what metallurgy is, it's how you separate metals from rock. But I will say this to you. The Marmato mine is approximately 2.5 kilometers to our southeast, and they enjoy mid 90% recoveries of gold. Okay, so they don't have any problems in separating the ore. And then directly a few hundred meters northwest of Apollo, which you're looking at on your screen, is our Olympus target, where we have small-scale miners. And we don't know what their recovery rates are, but if there was a problem in separating the gold, silver out of the system, they wouldn't be there mining because they use rudimentary techniques. So that really that leaves me very hopeful that when we get our metallurgical results in the next few weeks, they're going to be quite positive. Next question. How big do you think this? Oh, the Apollo target is getting quite large now with great grades. How big can these systems get? This is a porphyry. Okay, so Apollo, we call it the main breccia discovery, but this is a porphyry system where where brecciation has come in and kind of blown through it. But unfortunately, in this situation, it blew into it before the metal was deposited. So we have all of this grade. So we could potentially grow as large as some of the larger porphyries in the world. Porphyries could get into the multi-billion tons when they're very large. We're far away from that at this point, but the potential is enormous here. And I think most importantly, I'm going to slip the slide for you. We do not know where the edges of this system is. Okay, we are drilling and we are expanding. I mentioned 22 is the next step out. We are currently drilling holes 28 and 30. 28 is when it completes, will be a big step out to the west. I'm going to show you on this image, so out to the west. And so we do not know where the edges are. But what you will notice on the shape of this is it's looking, I mean, it looks like a tooth, to be honest, but it's a circular feature, okay, like a porphyry. Porphyries look like pipes. And this is really similar looking to a porphyry. So the nice thing is if it expands in one direction, let's say to the north, you should sort of match the expansion on either the east or west side so that the shape remains something cohesive towards a circle. So we don't know how big this can get, but we're going to keep going, as we move. Next question. I noticed that you've mapped purple CBM veins at Apollo. Are you finding more of these veins outside the areas that you are drilling? This is a good question, a little bit detailed. Okay, so these purple veins you can see in the center, those are what we call carbonate base metal veins, or as the question was asked, as CBM veins. So those are the late stage porphyry veins. Why this system is high grade and why it's exciting is because there are multiple pulses of fluids dumping metals here. The first main pulse is the porphyry itself. That is bringing in, I think, all of the copper, a little bit of the gold, and some silver. And then at a later event in the timeline, these late stage veins overprinted the system. And what happens to these veins, they're incorrectly drawn here because they're drawn as veins. But really, when they hit the jigsaw puzzle breccia, the veins lose their shape and the fluids dump out of the narrow veins and reflood that breccia matrix and overprint it. That's why we have such fantastic grades, because we have two styles of mineralization overprinting each other. These veins continue. To answer your question, yes, they do continue outside of the areas that we're drilling. And I can confidently say that as we drill with more density here, we will continue to find more and more of these. It's really just an extension of Marmato. I mean, Marmato is 2.5 kilometers to the south. It's on the same trajectory line, these veins, so they go straight from Marmato through here and up to our Olympus target. So it's a gigantic hydrothermal fluid system in the whole area, and we're exploring the porphyry portion of it. Next question. What is the estimated timeline on a maiden resource and or a PEA? That's a good question. I think we're looking at late 24 for a maiden resource. Our plan here is to try and, we're in the exploration stage. I mean, we only have about 10,000 meters of drilling into the main breccia discovery at Apollo. That is nothing. We need to continue to push the boundaries of this at least for the next 6 months of next year, so till mid-2023. And at that time, we will then simultaneously start to do infill drilling to move this thing forward. When we get to a resource estimate, which would then obviously feed a PEA, I would like to have the bulk of it, at least in the shallow elevations, in the indicated category. I'm not a firm believer in coming out with inferred resources. Spacing between drill holes is too far, and the reliability isn't good, and there's room for disappointment or extra upside depending on the situation. Next question. Has there been any interest for investment from majors? Yes, of course. These kind of bulk intercepts, in 3 different commodities. So obviously we are attractive to gold players and silver players, but also to base metal players with the copper component. So yes, we have had interest. Bulk tonnage systems have potential to get quite large, but it's far too early for us to be entertaining anything like that at this point. That is something for a later date. Next question. Will you also drill at Trap and Olympus in Q1 along with Apollo? The answer to that is no. The Olympus drill results we need to receive once the third hole is just about finished, so we'll have those in January, and then we'll make a plan for Olympus. Trap, no, it will be in the second half of the year. The reason for that is it's in a different part of the project, so the infrastructure required to service it is separate from this area. So we'd rather stay in the Apollo, Olympus, donut type of corridor where our people can move around easily, and then look to expand to the north afterwards. The last question that I have is can you talk about your 2023 exploration program? Sure. We're going to be aggressive, as I mentioned. So it's going to primarily be focused on Apollo. We have a tiger by the tail there in a bulk tonnage high grade system. We will drill that porphyry target due south of Apollo. That will be done in Q1. And we need to get some assays to confirm, but I think there's potential to drill Donut East or some name that we haven't come up with yet as a new target next year as well, because it's looking exciting, but we need some assays on the soil sample and rock to confirm what I think. That is all. Thank you very much.